Hello everyone, I had project number 4, which is the case about the Veterans Healthcare System. First I want to go over some terms that I think might be helpful for you guys to understand the case better. Centralization, which is decisions made at higher levels of organizations, and decentralizations, which are decisions made at lower levels of organization. Service lines are programs that are organized around diseases or conditions, patient population, or technologies. And these service lines can be established to combine 3 purposes. 1, monitor expenses. 2, facilitate marketing. And 3, manage a service as a business entity. Below are 2 links to kind of give you a better understanding of centralization and decentralization. So if you guys are still confused, I would click on those links and kind of get a better understanding of it. As far as the case study, some background information. The VA actually had 172 hospitals and 4 regions. Each region had about 40 to 45 hospitals that they were accountable for. Due to the large span of control in each region, it allowed for them to work at a high degree of decentralization of operations and a low level of supervision. Unfortunately, the hospitals often competed for resources due to the duplication of services in hospitals nearby. What was the main goal during this case? The VA wanted to redesign the healthcare system in order to improve effectiveness, efficiency in day-to-day operations, and overall improve the quality of care. What did they decide to do? They decided to change the structure. Funding was allocated differently, and the VA started to shift away from acute hospitals. The decisions were then centralized from hospitals to regions, and then decentralized from headquarters to Washington to then the regions. What are the negative aspects of the reorganized structure and decentralization? I think the first negative aspect of the structure that they decided to do was defunding in acute care hospitals. When they did this, 52% of all the VA acute care hospitals were actually closed. The VHA beds of care per 1,000 patients decreased by 62%, which was actually 5% lower than the projected Medicare rate. By defunding the acute care hospital, it actually put the organization at higher risk of costs in the future. If there's not enough beds, then the patients currently there will be discharged faster in order to accommodate more patients. And if that happens, there's a risk of patients returning with worse symptoms, which will result in a higher cost to treat. As for decentralization, it is possible that the organization's visions and missions may not be enforced or carried on when the power is given to lower levels of authority. There would also be a risk involved if the ones of authority abuse their power. Another potential negative is the organization may become fragmented, and this can actually lead to disconnect with other organizations because the teamwork aspect may be lost in the mix. Describe alternatives for service line internal. Another alternative could be instead of doing a regional, do it sub-regional, so that the delegation process could be easier and still consider the individual organization needs. Another alternative is creating individual hospital service lines that solely focus on their personal needs for the hospital. Why is hierarchy structure limited in its capability to facilitate coordination in healthcare organizations? Few organizations have coordinating needs that can be met solely by the hierarchy. The best way to ensure the best coordination process would be to consider and take it into account that this specific hospital it is intended for. For this reason, other approaches must be used to achieve coordination. And I just want to ask you guys what your opinion is. Do you think should the VA be centralized, decentralized, or a mix of both? And if so, why? Do you think defunding in the acute care hospital was a good idea? If so, why or why not? Thank you guys so much.